This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I think we already know this because we talk about it almost every single day. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida on this lovely February the 6th of 2026. We are coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, yes. You know, I don't like it any other way besides infiltration and Radio Big. That is just kind of the way that it goes as we do our stuffo around here. So anyways, how have you been? How has the last, so let's see, 24 hours been for you? Hopefully it's been grandioso in regards of what you've been getting to do. So that's always a good time as we are hanging out doing our thing. No doubt about that. So anyways, let's talk real quick about what we do around here. Our show consists of safety of the news and safety. That's just kind of how it goes about in regards of everything that we do. So if you're hanging out here for the first time, that's how we do our stuff. Our show is 3 hours long, just to give you the explainer. The first hour is on video. It is also streaming across both networks, radiobig.fm and Safety FM. And then it is also being video streamed. Did I say that already? Hopefully I did not. So that's hour one. We also put that in a podcast. Hour one. Hour 2 and 3 is on Radio Big exclusively as we talk about everything that's going on inside of the world of music and entertainment. That's kind of how that goes. But hour number 1, Rated R Safety Show, is kind of how the highlight of the whole thing goes. Hour 2 and 3 refer to them more as Jay Allen in the morning, just in case. We're also going across Odyssey. We're also going across iHeartRadio. We're on Pandora. I mean, we're a little bit of everywhere in regards to the live streaming feed stuff. And that's kind of how we do it. And so that's it. That is kind of the genesis and the revelation of the show, if one may say it that way. Also, in some other things, on Friday, well, it becomes a total cluster. And let me explain what I mean by that. On Fridays, it's Freeform Friday. So what does that mean? That means we talk about everything that we're able to get a hold of and share it. No, seriously, we share everything. We share everything that we can get a hold of there. Reason behind it? Well, because during the week, we get a whole bunch of stories that we're never able to share with you. So on Friday, we just say, hey, let's do them all and get them your general direction. So that is the whole reason behind it. So if you're good with it, I'm good with it as well. So let's play this thing because that's kind of the way that it goes. Do we want to do a couple of things? Or do you want to get a little hyped up for Sunday? So let's try this one.
Super Bowl Sunday.
We got a party now!
Going to the Super Bowl and smelling the excitement in the air.
Yeah.
One of the favorite snacks, chicken wings.
Don't you like those iced mugs?
We're bringing football back to its cold, exciting roots.
So there you go. Some Super Bowl stuff coming up. Why do they call it the big game? No, seriously, I just don't get that. So anyways, why don't we do this before we get too far down the rabbit hole here? And why don't we go ahead and give you, let's see if I could linger around here and find it, because that's going to be the fun part. Why don't we go ahead and give you the week in review? So let's do that right now.
There are new developments on those immigration raids in Minnesota. The Trump administration says it will withdraw 700 federal agents from the state right away. That announcement coming from Borders' our Tom Homan yesterday. The Super Bowl.
The hype is only growing for Sunday's big matchup between the Seahawks and the Patriots.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is playing mediator. He said this week he expects the halftime show to, quote, unite people.
There is now a $50,000 reward for any information leading to the discovery of Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mom. This revealed at a news conference today, and the centerpiece of this news conference was a ransom note that
extreme cold alerts as another blast of Arctic air and snow threatens the east.
Chuck Negron, lead vocalist of the rock group Three Dog Night, has died. The group is behind the hits Joy to the World and an old-fashioned love song. He died from heart failure and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease at his home in L.A.
Get this, today Trump said that he's suing Harvard for $1 billion in damages. Yeah, but just in case he doesn't get it, he's also suing Cornell as a safety school.
Trump has called for Republicans to nationalize voting and take over in about 15 states. In the House, Speaker Mike Johnson is pushing something called the SAVE Act, which would require a passport or a birth certificate when you register to vote to make it as difficult as possible for people to vote.
So there you go. There you go. There you go. What do you think? That's the weekend review. So I think we're pretty much caught up with anything that you might have missed during the week. That's for sure. So what do you think here? If you're good with this, I'm good with it. I have my friends waiting from Feature Story News. We can go into that whole mumbo jumbo of everything that's going on. I just wanted to say mumbo jumbo. Not that I really think that they give mumbo jumbo. They give a lot of good news that's going on there. Okay. So if you're good, I'm good. Let's do it.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Neha Punia. The US and Russia are closing in on a deal to continue to observe the expired New START arms control treaty. News site Axios is reporting that negotiations to extend the treaty have been taking place on the sidelines of Ukraine talks in Abu Dhabi. Kate Fisher is in Washington.
The treaty was the last major guardrail constraining the nuclear arsenals of the two countries that together hold some 85% of the world's warheads. It caps the number of weapons and includes transparency mechanisms. The report quotes a source suggesting that the US and Russia would agree to observe the deal's terms for at least 6 months, during which time negotiations on a potential new pact would take place. Russian President Vladimir Putin had previously suggested a short-term extension, but said the US had not responded. The White House has been sceptical of extending the treaty because it doesn't constrain China, which is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal.
The White House has signaled it's open to negotiating with Democrats over immigration enforcement reforms to end a funding fight. Lawmakers are facing a Friday 13th deadline to secure funding for the Department of Homeland Security following controversial killings in Minneapolis by the department's employees.
A change of tune from the White House. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying the administration is willing to discuss some of the reform options the Democrats have put forward. They have laid out a 10-point proposal, all aimed at reining in ICE agents' activities on US streets. The Democrat demands include ICE agents not wearing masks or face coverings, always carrying ID, and needing a judicial warrant to enter a private property. The Republicans had initially flatly refused those demands. But now, while the White House says some of the suggestions are non-starters, it seems that the president may be willing to negotiate.
China is asking state firms to stop talks over new projects in Panama, according to Bloomberg. It's seen as part of Beijing's broader retaliation after Panama voided a Hong Kong conglomerate's contract to operate 2 ports along its strategic canal.
Beijing has reportedly asked shipping companies to consider rerouting cargo through other ports if it doesn't result in significant extra costs, and China's customs authorities are also stepping up inspections on imports from Panama, such as bananas and coffee. The move follows Panama's Supreme Court decision last week, which voided C.K. Hutchison's contract to operate 2 ports there. That handed a win to U.S. President Donald Trump, and it's drawn the ire of Beijing, which warned Panama that there would be a heavy price if it fails to change course. The 2 ports near the strategic canal have emerged as a geopolitical flashpoint between Washington and Beijing. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, after the latest paroxysm of violence in Iran, with protesters against the regime brutally treated at the hands of the country's security forces, what are the prospects for this weekend's talks with the US over the future of the country's nuclear program? Our guide is Nagar Mortazavi, host of the Iran podcast and senior fellow at the Center for International Policy in Washington.
Iran and the US were discussing the nuclear program for about 6-7 rounds last year at the beginning of President Trump's term. But what happened is throughout the negotiations, the Iranians felt like the goalpost has moved. Essentially, the president said no nuclear weapons, which they were negotiating, and they said that's an acceptable framework. And then it changed to no enrichment, or essentially no civilian program. And the Iranians are that's essentially one of their main red lines, that they want to maintain a civilian program. And so if the request right now, the demand from the US side remains no nuclear weapons, I think that would be acceptable, and the two sides can sort of try to bridge that gap. If the US continues a more maximalist demand, which is no enrichment, no civilian program, then I don't think the Iranians are going to play ball, and they've shown that they're willing to even go down the route of conflict and not really negotiate under those terms.
Those talks are taking place in Oman after several Middle Eastern leaders urged the Trump administration to back down after threatening earlier in the week to walk away. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. The US and Russia are closing in on a deal to continue to observe the expired New START Arms Control Treaty. The White House has signaled it's open to negotiating with Democrats over immigration enforcement reforms to end a funding fight. China is asking state firms to stop talks over new projects in Panama. And that is the latest feature story news. Neha Punia reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
They're good. They're very funny.
They're hilarious. They just be whoever they want to be.
It's just really funny.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, Rated R Safety Show. Currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing our thing. No doubt about that. So let's start getting into some of the stories that we need to get you caught up on because, man, has there a whole gamut of stuff that I did not cover this week that we need to make sure that you're there. So a Colorado man is suing Walmart after claiming that a loaf of take and bake bread turned into his lunch break into a medical emergency. Jordan T. Douglas says that he bought the market side branded bread loaf from Walmart in Colorado Springs, believing it was ready to eat. According to the lawsuit, the store applied sell by sticker, allegedly covered the preparation instructions, and warned that the bread needed to be baked first. Douglas says that he ate the bread raw and soon after that developed severe abdominal pain, vomiting, and the doctors identified as a gastrointestinal obstruction caused by uncooked dough expanding inside of his stomach. He spent 3 days hospitalized, required some tubes going into his system, if you know what I'm saying, and underwent extensive testing. The lawsuit accuses Walmart of creating an unreasonable risk by altering the packaging presentation and failing to provide label or train employees. It also names the bread manufacturer, Anthony and Sons Italian Bakery, claiming the inadequate warning about the dangers of eating the product without baking it. Douglas is seeking compensatory damages for medical bills, lost wages, pain, emotional distress, and a loss of enjoyment of life. No jury trial has been requested. Walmart and the bakery have not commented. So this bread took the rising to the occasion way too literally. And then when your lunch expands faster than your expectation, he wanted carbs, not internal baking. Turns out stomach is not an oven. Also, the loaf said, "Give me 20 minutes and 375 degrees." This instruction matters, people. So, I mean, I think it's something we should probably read. Also, dough goes in the oven, not in your digestive system. And from lunch break to medical chart real fast. Walmart rollback, not common sense. So just kind of think about some of that stuff. So what do you think here? It's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. How would you not know if the bread's baked or not? So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking. A small theater in Lake Oswego, is what I think it's called, in Oregon, learned the hard way that corporate America does not enjoy improv comedy. The cafe, or the Lake Theater and Cafe, famous for its witty marquee messages, promoted the new Melania documentary with the tongue-in-cheek lines like, "Does Melania wear Prada? Find out Friday," plus a Sun Tzu quote about knowing your enemy. Amazon MGM Studio was not amused, according to the theater. Amazon contacted him and said that it was upset about how the movie was marketed and promptly yanked the film from the schedule after Sunday. February the 8th, the theater fired back with an updated marquee that read, "Amazon called our marquee, made them mad. All Melania shows canceled. Show your support at Whole Foods instead." The theater also said that it was flooded with emails, voicemails, and negative reviews, many which were later removed by Google and Yelp. The manager says there's no bad blood, explaining that the film wasn't sitting well with the theater usual crowd anyways, and that they weren't trying to spark political food fight, just to have a little fun. Amazon learned that the marquee had jokes and immediately hit cancel subscription. And it turns that Prime does not include a sense of humor, and the movie didn't bomb. It drone striked. The art of war clearly does not apply to the movie marketing, so there you go. Some stuff going on there. Okay, so let me tell you about this one, because I thought this one was extremely strange, and I normally don't cover stories like this, but it's definitely a horrific one, but I figured that I would share it anyways. A tragic incident unfolded on Friday of last week at the Olive Garden in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where an employee died after diving head first into a deep fryer during what police described as a suicide attempt. According to the report, a 911 calls obtained from the smoking gun, the unidentified man removing his clothing inside of the restaurant kitchen and plunged into the vat of hot oil while the restaurant was operating. Emergency calls came in shortly after 4 p.m. with the dispatchers reported burn victim and people screaming. One caller specifically told officers that the man had gone head first into the fryer, and responders rushed the man to the nearby hospital where he later died from his injuries. A second ambulance was called to treat female coworkers who suffered minor burns while trying to stop him. At least one customer also attempted to intervene. Pennsylvania State Police confirmed that the incident was a suicide attempt and said no further details would be released out of respect to the man and his family. Olive Garden has not publicly commented on the issue that was going on. But man, that's terrible. I mean, it's just a terrible way to go, period. I read that and I was like, wow, I was just in total shock. I'm glad that, Pennsylvania decided not to discuss who the person was due to his family. But man, I just don't know what to say. I am at a total loss of words for this one.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so without getting too serious, let's talk about this one as we are going into the dives here of everything that is going on. Hold on, let's change what I had in mind. Let's talk about this. President Trump went big picture at a little celestial during a 77-minute anything but quiet speech at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington. The topic, faith, politics, heaven, and himself. Trump told the crowd that he figures that his odds of getting into heaven are pretty solid. Not perfect, he admitted, but good enough given that what he says he's done for perfect people. Classic Trump math, of course. He also took a victory lap on religion, claimed that he's done more for faith than any president before him, and accusing past White House on bailing on it. He questioned on how many religious could vote Democrat despite the event being billed as a nonpartisan. Subtle as a megaphone, of course. Trump argued that he's put Christianity back at the center of American life, pointing to school prayer support, policies targeting transgender people, the creation of the White House Faith Office, and what he says is a packed churches nationwide. He announced a May 17th event on the National Mall to rededicate America as one of nation under God, because if you're going to lean in all the way, of course, is one way to think about it. What do you think about this? Like, what is your general consensus? Listen, I think that you should believe in some version of whatever you want to believe in. No doubt about that, if that helps you. But, there was a separation between church and state at one point. And this seems like it's trying to get back together. So what is your thought process overall? It's just, and that's the thing. What is your thought? That means your opinion. That is the greatest part about the whole thing. When somebody says, give me your opinion, you can't be wrong because it's your opinion. And if you start saying something, in my opinion, people don't have to agree with you. But technically, how can somebody say it's good or it's bad? It's an opinion, just like anybody else's. Anyway, take a listen to this. President Trump reportedly tried to cut a very Trumpian deal, but his name, put his name on the Penn Station and Washington Dulles Airport. He'd released $16 billion in frozen federal funds for a critical rail tunnel between New York and New Jersey, according to to Punchbowl News. Trump made the pitch directly to the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The money was frozen during last fall's government shutdown, and with the cash running dry, construction on the tunnel could grind to a halt as soon as today. New York and New Jersey have already sued the administration in federal court to get the funds released. Sources say that Trump told Schumer that he'd unfreeze the money if Schumer backed renaming Penn Station and Dulles International Airport after him. Schumer reportedly shut it down immediately, telling Trump that he didn't even have the authority to make that happen. One Schumer ally summed it up bluntly: Trump can restart the funding anytime he wants. There's nothing to bargain over. The White House declined to comment, so there you go. What do you think about that one? Just asking the question because it gets pretty interesting as we are talking, no doubt here. So, I mean, it's just kind of a weird one. So, why would you want your name on so many different things? It's just weird, I think, but whatever. Everybody has to do their own thing, whatever they deem important to themselves, I guess. So let's continue talking about some other things because this is what's going on. President Trump says that his administration is eyeing at least 5 American cities for future immigration and crime enforcement operations. The high-profile federal action in Minneapolis, but says that he doesn't want to force his way in. In a sit-down interview with NBC's Nightly News, the president addressed the controversial Minneapolis operations that ended with the shooting deaths of U.S. citizens Rose Good and Alex Britti by federal agents. Trump said flatly that the deaths should have not happened and called them sad incidents breaking from others in his administration who previously labeled the pair as domestic terrorists. Asked whether the signals a change in how the agencies like ICE and Customs and Border Protection operate. Trump said that he refers to cities invite federal help rather than having them impose. He confirmed that there are 5 cities very strongly under consideration, but declined to name them, saying that the announcements are coming soon. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. And then we've been talking about this story this week. And of course, it's been making some major news headlines, of course. An imposter has been arrested for sending fake ransom note tied to the disappearance of Savannah Gumtree's 84-year-old mother, Nancy. But actual kidnapping case is very much still active. The FBI says that one suspect in custody for sending bogus ransom demands, according to Special Agent Heath Yankee. That person's name hasn't been released yet. It is expected in court. Also, Heath had a warning for anyone else thinking of piling on. Fake ransom notes will get you arrested, not detention. So there you go. Some stuff going on there. I guess we have a lot of White House stuff that we didn't cover this week, even though I feel like we covered a lot of it. But let's get into some more of this. The Trump administration has signed off on opening the doors to it, or at least partially, to one of Congress's loudest UFOs disclosure advocates, Missouri's Congressman Eric Burleson. He says he's been granted access to classified facilities, including places like Area 51, after requesting permission directly through the president and the White House. Burleson made the announcement on ALN podcast, saying that the administration told the Department of Defense back that his request to make it happen. Burleson sits on the House Oversight Committee investigating unidentified phenomenon and says that his request includes visits to the U.S. and overseas military locations where whistleblowers claim unidentified crafts, material, bodies, or records that may exist. The Pentagon officials denies physical evidence of aliens, but multiple whistleblowers have told Congress the opposite. Burleson has even gone further in the past comments, claiming that President Trump has been fully briefed on alleged UFO recoveries dating back to the 1940s. He now says the White House insiders believe some form of disclosures could come as early as July, raising expectations that Congress may soon see more than just grainy videos. So what do you think here? I mean, think about that for a moment on how that would come across if that ends up being the whole kit and caboodle. I'm just saying, interesting times for sure as we are talking. I mean, I just don't understand certain things when it comes to that. It's like, if it is true, how is this not public information right now? So there you go. Just saying. And I guess let me give you this one because I found this interesting, but I'll share it just for the sake of sharing it. Are you familiar with a singer by the name of Tate McRae? Okay, if you're not, let me give you some side story. Tate McRae had to clear the air after Canadians did a double take watching NBC. The singer showed up in a new NBC promo hyping the Team USA and the road to the 2026 Winter Games, which immediately confused and irritated some of McRae's fans. Because McRae is Canadian, born and raised. Social media lit up with comments questioning why she's promoting America at all. McRae responded with humor. On her Instagram story on Wednesday, she posted a childhood photo of herself holding a tiny Canadian flag and reminding everyone, yeah, y'all, no, I'm Canadian, down. Making it clear that her passport hasn't changed. The ad itself features McRae skiing, chatting with the White Owl, and name-checking the Milan opening ceremonies, Team USA. Let's see, Lindsey Vohn's comeback and the Super Bowl, which I believe is 60 in case. A full NBC hype reel. That didn't stop some Canadian fans from calling her out on her in the comments, accusing her of selling out north of the border. So hold on, selling out north of the border. But is it south of the border, north of the border, south of the border? Because remember, Canada's on top, USA is on the bottom. Okay, so let's take a listen to the clip.
I'm a bit lost. Tate McRae? I'm nobody. Nobody's girl, that is. I'm trying to get to Milan for an amazing opening ceremony and meet Team USA. Then it's the weekend with America's best skating for gold and Lindsey Vohn's epic comeback. Then back to the States for the big game, Super Bowl 60. Okay, I'll just ask someone else then. I'll forget it.
So there you go. So that's the ad. That's the ad that's causing the controversy. I don't know. It wasn't like it said something along the lines of, I hope Team USA beats everybody else in the world. I mean, I get that. That we could kind of upset depending on where you're from. That makes sense to me. But that's not what's said. Anyway, so there you go. That's part of the stuff that's going on. Take it for what it is. So there you go. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. If it was a normal day, we would be going into our main story. But it's Freeform Friday. So what does that mean? Well, news. Here is
the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Neha Punia. The US and Russia are closing in on a deal to continue to observe the expired New START arms control treaty. News site Axios is reporting that negotiations to extend the treaty have been taking place on the sidelines of Ukraine talks in Abu Dhabi. Kate Fisher is in Washington.
The treaty was the last major guardrail constraining the nuclear arsenals of the two countries that together hold some 85% of the world's warheads. It caps the number of weapons and includes transparency mechanisms. The report quotes a source suggesting that the US and Russia would agree to observe the deal's terms for at least 6 months, during which time negotiations on a potential new pact would take place. Russian President Vladimir Putin had previously suggested a short-term extension, but said the US had not responded. The White House has been sceptical of extending the treaty because it doesn't constrain China, which is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal.
The White House has signaled it's open to negotiating with Democrats over immigration enforcement reforms to end a funding fight. Lawmakers are facing a Friday 13th deadline to secure funding for the Department of Homeland Security, following controversial killings in Minneapolis by the department's employees.
A change of tune from the White House. Press Secretary Caroline Levitt saying the administration is willing to discuss some of the reform options the Democrats have put forward. They have laid out a 10-point proposal, all aimed at reining in ICE agents' activities on US streets. The Democrat demands include ICE agents not wearing masks or face coverings, always carrying ID, and needing a judicial warrant to enter a private property. The Republicans had initially flatly refused those demands. But now, while the White House says some of the suggestions are non-starters, it seems that the president may be willing to negotiate.
China is asking state firms to stop talks over new projects in Panama, according to Bloomberg. It's seen as part of Beijing's broader retaliation after Panama voided a Hong Kong conglomerate's contract to operate 2 ports along its strategic canal.
Beijing has reportedly asked shipping companies to consider rerouting cargo through other ports if it doesn't result in significant extra costs, and China's customs authorities are also stepping up inspections on imports from Panama, such as bananas and coffee. The move follows Panama's Supreme Court decision last week, which voided C.K. Hutchison's contract to operate 2 ports there. That handed a win to U.S. President Donald Trump, and it's drawn the ire of Beijing, which warned Panama that there would be a heavy price if it fails to change course. The 2 ports near the strategic canal have emerged as a geopolitical flashpoint between Washington and Beijing. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, after the latest paroxysm of violence in Iran, with protesters against the regime brutally treated at the hands of the country's security forces, what are the prospects for this weekend's talks with the US over the future of the country's nuclear program? Our guide is Nagar Mortazavi, host of the Iran podcast and senior fellow at the Center for International Policy in Washington.
Iran and the US were discussing the nuclear program for about 6-7 rounds last year at the beginning of President Trump's term. But what happened is throughout the negotiations, the Iranians felt like the goalpost has moved. Essentially, the president said no nuclear weapons, which they were negotiating, and they said that's an acceptable framework. And then it changed to no enrichment, or essentially no civilian program. And the Iranians that's essentially one of their main red lines, that they want to maintain a civilian program. And so if the request right now, the demand from the US side remains no nuclear weapons, I think that would be acceptable, and the two sides can sort of try to bridge that gap. If the US continues a more maximalist demand, which is no enrichment, no civilian program, then I don't think the Iranians are going to play ball, and they've shown that they're willing to even go down the route of conflict and not really negotiate under those terms.
Those talks are taking place in Oman after several Middle Eastern leaders urged the Trump administration to back down after threatening earlier in the week to walk away. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. The US and Russia are closing in on a deal to continue to observe the expired New START arms control treaty. The White House has signaled it's open to negotiating with Democrats over immigration enforcement reforms to end a funding fight. China is asking state firms to stop talks over new projects in Panama. And that is the latest feature story news. Neha Punia reporting.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing that dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free to use the code SafetyFM free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free with code SafetyFM free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Radio Big.
USA, Canada, UK.
Disguised synthetics and every dream's a real and every war's been won. I reach for something that feels alive, but every breath is just archive. Pull the wire, bend the stream. Nothing's real, just another dream. Fragments of the real, they fade when I touch them.
Okay. I have to tell you, we got some fragments of the real here. You know, I still think that this one stands up. I mean, at least compared to the normal stuff that I listen to. No, seriously. But then again, I like that industrial techno, style music, so that's my problem.
Neon sings.
Okay.
Preach control.
So if you're good with this,
Data drips.
this one's called Fragments of the Real. Not available anywhere, just in case. Because at some point in my life, I'm going to release all this stuff. Yep, there you go.
But they're miracles.
Okay, just a smidgen more. A smidgen.
I've been uploaded, downloaded, erased, every memory perfectly replaced. They call it life, but it's just a feed, a loop.
Wait till he yells, and then we'll get out.
Taste the spark, see the system in the dark. Fragments of the real, they fade when.
Okay, so there we go. Let's get back into the move and the groove of the stuff that we have going on. No doubt about that. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you need to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. There you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of how we do our thing. So thank you. I'm going to tell you, if you go to that website, it will change everything for you. Good, bad, or indifferent. And there is no bad. I just think that it will give you a lot of information that you might want to take a look at, because it might not be information that you need, but it could be information that you could assist someone else with. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So let me talk about this before I forget and get too far into the weeds, because I need to talk about this. Seems like something to do. So let's talk about the Conklin workshop that's taking place. And that is coming up on March the 31st through April the 1st in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We'll be having some conversations over there about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, that's for sure. We're going to be talking about incident and accident investigations during the event itself. So if you would like to be involved, there's a QR code right there on the screen. If not, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says Live Events. Once you get there, you'll see information of the different people that will be there speaking. You'll see Ann Liren's there. You'll see Brett Sutton. And we'll be actually having a discussion on a firsthand medical event that occurred with Redonda Voigt. And you can take a listen to what she saw firsthand. And that's how we'll start the workshop in regards of having a conversation related to what exactly was going on there. So for more information, safetyfm.com, and click on the section that says Live Events. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be one of those events that can change a little bit of everything for you if you give it the opportunity to do so. So safetyfm.com, click on the section that says Live Events, or just go ahead and scan the screener that's right there, and that will get everything moving and grooving for you. No doubt about that. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Okay, so let's get into some other things going on inside of this joint, because that's just kind of what we do around here. So should we talk about this? Brian Johnson, who has been the groundskeeper of Super Bowl for 30 years, appeared on Today, and I'm talking about the show, yesterday. Take a listen to what he had to say.
You've been doing this this is your 30th Super Bowl?
30 years. Super Bowl 30 was my first one.
Wow. So how did that happen?
Well, I was really in the right place at the right time. That game was at Sun Devil Stadium in Arizona, and that was my stadium.
Right.
So the NFL just asked me to be a part of their crew then. They liked the painting that I did, and they just invited me back every year. There's probably hundreds of groundskeepers in this country that could paint as good as I can paint. but I just was in the right spot at the right time years ago, and I'm living a blessed life.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, if you're doing that for 30 years, holy crap. It sounds like you're doing something right. It sounds like, I mean, just my opinion, of course, but what do I know? So there you go. Okay, so do we have a Friday joke? Do we have an Alexa Friday joke? Let's do it.
How do you talk to an amoeba? With a microbe phone.
Oh, that's terrible. I can't even believe that we did that for 3 seconds. Okay, let's do this. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Edward Young said, "Too low they build who build beneath the stars." I'm going to share 2 completely different perspectives on this one. It could be about building things so big that you need more room than we have in this world. Elon Musk comes to mind. He's got his sights set on Mars. That's still kind of weird to me. Now, the other perspective on this quote is more spiritual. If your goals and plans are all for the here and now, even if you become the wealthiest man in the world, what good is that for an eternity without God? Are you building your wealth here or in heaven? Okay, I'm not going to get preachy, but I thought it was profound how the exact same quote could go 2 completely different ways depending on how you look at it. Now, who am I to say which direction is right? I know which one matters more to me. How about you? This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
World leaders from the United States, Ukraine, and Russia are back at the same table in the United Arab Emirates.
Envoys are meeting in Abu Dhabi for a second round of 3-way talks that both Moscow and Kyiv have called constructive. The sessions are expected to continue through Thursday, with US mediators describing the discussions as productive so far. Russian officials say they are keeping their military campaign going, even as they insist the door to a peaceful deal is still open. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Russian forces have resumed heavy rocket and missile strikes across Ukraine, even as negotiators sit down.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of breaking a short-lived pause in attacks that he said was meant to cover the coldest stretch of winter. He argued that Russia used the lull to prepare new barrages, instead of working in good faith toward peace. Chris Anderson reporting.
Vice President J.D. Vance is set to lay out a sweeping plan to shore up America's access to the metals and minerals.
Vance is scheduled to address dozens of foreign officials as he unveils an effort to rebuild U.S. supply chains for critical minerals used in clean energy, electronics, and defense systems. The initiative is aimed at reducing reliance on China, which currently dominates production and processing of key materials. Liam White reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Supreme Court is allowing California to move ahead with a new congressional map that gives Democrats a better shot at holding the House.
In a brief order, the justices declined a last-minute request from state Republicans and the Trump administration to block the voter-approved map for this year's elections. The decision means districts drawn by an independent commission will stay in place as candidates file paperwork and begin campaigns. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A Florida member of Congress accused of helping steal millions in COVID relief funds is pushing back in court while vowing to stay in office.
The lawmaker entered a not guilty plea nearly 3 months after a federal indictment alleged she took part in a scheme to siphon about $5 million from pandemic disaster programs. Prosecutors say the plot used shell companies and false applications to tap into aid meant for struggling businesses and workers. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A woman who says federal agents yanked her from her car is telling lawmakers and viewers what she remembers.
In an interview with CNN legal analyst Laura Coates, the woman described being pulled from her vehicle by federal officers and taken into custody as bystanders watched. She recounted the physical struggle and confusion, saying she did not understand why she was being detained at the time. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Radio.
Okay, we are still hanging out here on Radio Big and on Safety FM on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1995, Beach Boy Brian Wilson and weds Melinda Ledbetter. Also in 1995, Darryl Strawberry suspended from baseball for 60 days. What else? Back in 2005, the Patriots won their third Super Bowl in 4 years, 24-21, win over the Eagles in the Super Bowl of that year. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. And I think that's what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays that are going on today as well. Let's see. Mike Farrell turns 87 today, just so you know. Also, Tom Brokaw turns 86. Fabian turns 83. Robert Townsend turns 69. And Rick Astley, don't get Rick rolled. Yeah, he turned 60 today, just so you know. So there you go. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know, because it seems like it's important to do that. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is for $346 million. Also, tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is $102 million. The Milan Winter Olympics opening ceremony airs tonight on NBC. Also, the president won't be at the Super Bowl this Sunday, and it's not because he lost interest in football. According to a new report, aides warned President Trump that Santa Clara Carter might greet him with more boos than cheers. So the idea was quietly shelved. Publicly, Trump's explanation was a lot simpler. The game is too far away, he told the New York Post last month, and he's considered going if the trip was a little bit shorter. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Anyways, leading health experts is sounding the alarm about serious and potential permanent risk tied to popular weight loss drug Ozempic, vision loss, including blindness. Several studies have found links between the medication and eye conditions that involve inflammation and restricted blood flow to the optic nerve. In some cases, the damage can be severe and irreversible. Back in 2024, these drugs were connected to a rare condition called non-arteritic anterior something optic, or let's just call it NIION, a sudden loss of vision caused by reduced blood supply to the optic nerve. Once it happens, there's no undo button. So there you go. Also, the FBI announced a $50,000 reward yesterday for info that leads to the discovery of missing Arizona resident Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, longtime co-host of NBC Today, who disappeared over the weekend from her home, and authorities have called it an abduction. On Tuesday, the local sheriff said that they are treating the case of Nancy as she is still alive. Also, last but not least, the Dallas Cowboys are officially going global again, and this time in Rio de Janeiro. For the first time ever, the NFL is bringing a regular season game to Rio in 2026. The Cowboys have been tapped for the first team to make the trip. No date, no opponent, just the headline: America's team goes to Brazil. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Freeform Friday. No doubt about that. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If not, you can stay right here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So your options are there. You got some options to do. So there you go. Anyways, if I could leave you with some words of wisdom for today, an idea is only as good as its execution. And last but not least, here's some words of advice. Take your bananas apart when you go home from the store. If you have them connected at the stem in a bunch, they'll ripen faster. Something to think about. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.